Gonna build a mountain.
Hello you, welcome to Geekism and welcome back to another update video about the new information we've got for Planet Zoo. If you're anything like me, you are chomping at the bit for new information regarding this upcoming title from Frontier later this year. So everything you want to know can be found right here on Geekism. So if you're new here, make sure you click subscribe to see all the Planet Zoo news as it happens. I say as it happens, I'm actually a little bit behind on some of this because I've just moved into a new apartment. There was a great article from PC Gamer by Andy Kelly, who's a very good games journalist and somebody I follow on Twitter, and they pretty much covered everything we've seen so far. Nothing groundbreakingly new, a few little bits and bobs and a few new screenshots that we'd not seen somewhere already. I did want to do a video on this. Unfortunately, I like I said, was in the process of moving when it came out. A few other people have already covered it very much in depth, but to be honest with you, I would really, if you really want to see it, recommend going and getting a subscription to PC Magazine, because it's a great magazine and something I used to love getting hold of in the UK. There was a nice shot of some new zebras, and again it really shows off quite clearly there that their skin does change and does conform. Now whether or not that's going to be like a batch of 20 textures that randomly get assigned to zebras, or it's actually sort of like a procedurally generated texture, I don't think we know that yet, but it's still really awesome to see that there are differences in the textures of their skin. And it's also been said that there's going to be differences in some like muscle density and height and weight and things like that, and also obviously their personalities are going to have different tendencies as well. Right up there we can see that the hippo does actually wake up from time to time. The big boy there is heading off to get some food, very exciting to see. And there's a great shot of the elephant there looking very majestic in the shade. You can also see some sort of feeder behind him there. It's quite exciting to see one of those in action, see how they work later on, we hope. And there's a little babby as well. So, some nice information there. Like I say, you want to read the full article, I really recommend going and checking out PC Gamer. It's a great magazine. But the main reason I'm here doing a video today is to talk about something that's a little bit more timely, and that is a new screenshot that has been released on the Planet Zoo social media, and we're going to have a deep dive into this one right now. So first thing I noticed is this is the same park that we've seen in a few other screenshots now. Pretty much every in-game screenshot, I think, other than some of the shots of the animals probably, pretty much every in-game screenshot has been of this zoo. Okay, most of them are taken from this top right corner here looking towards this building, so basically sort of the opposite of this, and over there you can see the football of the elephant enclosure, you can see some of the rocks of what we believe to be a wolf enclosure, and in the background you can see this building here. So this is kind of like a reverse of what we've seen so far. This looks like it's going to be the classic British style that has been talked about so far as being one of the two styles that we know about at the moment, and it's very much based around stately homes of Britain. So if you're not from Britain and you're wondering what the hell a stately home is, they're basically very grand houses that lords would live in, sort of owners of towns back in the day. And for the most part now, these are used as tourist attractions. You can look around them and maybe see what they were like at the time, and a lot of them with larger land have opened up the gardens, and some of them have opened these gardens up into being botanical gardens or even zoos. So the very famous one is Longleat, which is down south. There's a few others as well. Drayton Manor is one that I used to visit quite a lot as a kid, and obviously not necessarily a zoo, but a lot of you will have heard of Alton Towers, which is a theme park in the UK, and that's again based around Alton Manor. So yeah, there's a lot of these around, and a lot of the times they, rather than going into disrepair, they use the ground around them to be something that can generate profit and keep the houses in a manner to which they are accustomed. So that's what we're looking at here, I think, is a sort of stately home build. The fact that we've seen this park used a few times, it could either just be that this is the park they've built using what they've currently got ready to use as screenshots, or it could be something like this being one of the campaign levels. You know, you could sort of say that Lord Fuzzlebottom has asked you to come along and look after the zoo that's in disrepair, or you know, something like that. A very sort of standard very sort of standard tycoon campaign fare that would be. But yeah, it's really nice to see lots of little details here that I'm loving. The main one being what they talked about in the tweet and in the Facebook post that went with this image, and that is that they are using, and it has been confirmed now that they're using a piece by piece building system. Piece by Piece, or PXP as it's sometimes shortened to, basically means the way that you can build buildings using wall pieces, window pieces, pillars, doors, fences, all that kind of thing. And it's a phrase that was coined when Planet Coaster came out, and it is the building system that Planet Coaster uses. In Planet Coaster, each of the wall pieces is based on a 4x4 meter grid. The wall pieces can come in 4x4 meters, they can come 2 meters high, 1 meter high. All of the wall sets include archways, and most of them have some things like windows and doors and extra little pieces. All of these get pushed together pretty much like Lego, and then you can add things onto them. You can add pillars, you can add windows and all that sort of stuff to make the building that you like. It is an incredibly powerful building system. It does get a little tedious if you're not really into that kind of system, to be honest with you. You know, it's got to be something that you enjoy doing, and it does take a long time to get some decent results. The good thing about this system, if you're not really into it, is that it's really well integrated with the Steam Workshop. So if you're not really into this kind of gameplay and you would rather just be able to go plop, plop, plop and plonk buildings down, you can go into the Steam Workshop, type in ice cream store or chimpanzee exhibit or whatever, and there will be literally hundreds, if Planet Coaster is anything to go by, options for you to download and place down in your park, pre-built, so to speak. The really powerful pieces of this system are the scenery pieces. So basically, in Planet Coaster, everything is split into two parts. You have building and scenery. Building pieces are pretty much exclusively tied to a grid. So once you place a wall down, a grid appears on the ground, and then all the other wall pieces go into that grid. Makes it very quick and easy to drag out the shapes of buildings and add roofs and things like that. But then the scenery pieces completely are 360 manipulated using what we call the gizmo. Very similar to how game development systems work or 3D design systems work. You can drag every piece in either X, Y or Z and move them however you want. It's a really powerful tool, and it means that you can take pillars and turn them upside down to make chimneys, or you can take lampposts and swish them around so that you've got hooks for other pieces of scenery. Really powerful system, and I personally can't wait to get in and start building with it in Planet Zoo. A couple of things I have noticed then is based on that system, the windows of this building here aren't really windows. They basically stick onto the wall and just look good. The glass there is usually like a greyed out sort of colour. You can't actually see through them. Now, I'll be honest with you, a lot of Planet Coaster players would have probably liked to have seen this system advanced a little bit and maybe go for something a bit more like The Sims, for instance, where the windows actually sort of cut holes into the walls. But I understand that requires a lot of processing power to manage, and when these sort of buildings aren't going to be the main focus of the game, obviously here the main focus is the animals itself. I can understand why they've not gone for that method. It also suggests that they're not concentrating too much on interiors of buildings, which again is something they didn't particularly do in Planet Coaster. All of the shops all the stores are more based around QSRs, which are quick service restaurants, so because counters that you walk up to and get your food and walk away, and any other more developed buildings that they have in Planet Coaster, such as hotels, restaurants, things like that, are more like a TARDIS kind of building, a box that people walk into, have their stats adjusted and walk back out again. This can be seen here on this screenshot with the washroom or the toilets there, depending on where you're from. I've learned that I have to call it washroom in Canada, and I mentioned that in another video as well. They don't like the word toilets over here. So the top right of the screenshot has really been covered from a better angle in the other one, so we're not going to deal with that too much, although I do really love the rock work here on what I think is the wolf enclosure. Really excited to see whether or not the animals interact with the rocks you place down. That would be really impressive if they do, and they actually sort of walk. I know that they've said that they can do it with the terrain, like they do in Jurassic World Evolution, but whether they can do it with actual rocks you place down, and whether they can decide whether or not rocks are too steep or something, I'm going to be really excited to see whether they do. Or maybe there are a set number of set piece rocks that you can place down that they do interact with, and they sort of class them more as a toy, and maybe they go that route. The interesting part of this screenshot is towards the other side of the picture, stuff that we haven't really seen before. We get a better shot of the hedge maze there. Pretty much looks like that is for decoration only and is not going to be used as an attraction. Again, a little bit disappointing, but to be honest with you, if they did bring in hedge mazes, I'd probably rather them see them go to Planet Coaster, where they'd be a bit more in keeping with the aesthetic over there than they would be in this. But again, it looks gorgeous. Love what they've done with it there, and love the water above it. Really looks like really high quality water. They have said that the water in this game will hopefully, I say they have said, they haven't actually confirmed this, but a few articles now have lended themselves to the idea that water is going to be a little bit more developed than it is in Planet Coaster. Planet Coaster, pretty much you can pick a level where the water sits, and it's really just a thin image that sits over empty areas. Whereas here, it looks like there may be some elements of dynamic water in the fact that when rain falls, puddles will form where there isn't very good drainage, which is something that sounds absolutely fantastic to see. Rain knows whether stuff is covered or not, and certain items in the game, such as trees, give partial coverage, so if animals haven't got anywhere better to go, they'll go and hide under trees. Really exciting. I can't wait to see more of that feature, because that's something we wanted to see in Planet Coaster for a long time. Again, at the top, some other really lovely looking buildings using this Victorian style building set. Again, mostly look like they are piece by piece buildings, probably places for restaurants or washrooms to go into. And then the really exciting thing is here what looks like an animal exhibit, quite a small animal exhibit with lots of climbing and places to go. Personally, this looks to me like it's going to be for some sort of small primate. A lot of people on social media have suggested lemurs. I imagine lemurs would probably have a bit more space. This to me looks something more like a primate that hangs around on its own. Lemurs are quite social animals, so I'm thinking something more like a capuchin monkey perhaps, or something like that. I'm not fully up on my animals tonight, so I'm doing some more research as I find out more about this game, but I imagine it's something like that, maybe like one or two animals in there. But again, it's really exciting to see at the rear there is a different coloured path. Now, I'd like to think that shows that we are getting some sort of staff pathing system in the game. Something that doesn't happen in Planet Coaster is the ability to place a path down that only staff can walk on, but I think that's something that's going to be almost required in Planet Zoo because of how important that backstage element of the park is going to be. So I really do see that being a feature, and I wonder whether the change of colour in the path there is something that suggests that maybe we can select areas that are for staff only. The only thing I really want to mention here is this awesome rock work. Again, very excited to see. I love me some rock work. Very excited to see how the rocks interact with the animals, or well, vice versa technically, how the animals interact with the rocks. But yeah, there's some really nice looking rocks there, and also the lamps that are around the place. It's really good to see that they are off the path for the most part. We've got some on a bridge here, some on some grassland here in front of the building. Again, probably doesn't mean much to Planet Coaster players because, you know, we can pretty much put lamps wherever we like, but when we're coming from other games such as Jurassic World Evolution, where that kind of stuff is either generated with the path, or other titles where this kind of stuff like paths and benches stick to the path, lamps and benches stick to the path. It's really nice to be able to see that here we do still have that massive amount of customization that we are used to with Planet Coaster. So overall, nothing groundbreaking here, but really nice to see that the social media cogs are turning, and we're starting to get some images come through with little tidbits that we can look into and really sort of dive into and see what's going on with them. And again, really nice to see this build style in full from a better angle here, and excited to see some animal exhibits with a lot of detail going on in there. Now again, whether that's just one piece that gets plonked down that the animals know what to do with it, or you can actually place each individual plank and bit of rope, you know, or maybe somewhere in between, we'll find out in the coming months. But if you want to find out, remember to keep it here on Geekism. So if you have enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like. It really does help out the channel. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe for all your Planet Zoo needs, and lots of other games while we wait for it as well, of course. Any thoughts, comments, queries or suggestions, you can pop those down in the comments on this video. And if you fancy a chat, you can find me on Twitter. I'm at John T. Sparrow. If you'd like to join in with the Geekism community, you can do so over on our Geekism Discord server. You'll find the link for that in the description. Thanks to all of our patrons. They make these videos possible through their generous support at patreon.com/geekism. And don't forget to check out our affiliate links. You get some cheap games and other goodies while supporting the channel as well. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.